So kind of the why we're here. John normally runs the Getting Started with Book Creator webinars. Some of you have already attended those. If you haven't attended one of those, I highly recommend doing that as well. It's just kind of Book Creator 101. But why we're meeting today is we want to ensure everyone that has access to Book Creator, that you understand how to get started, especially in this remote learning environment for most of us. We really want to focus on establishing that collaboration and community still within the classroom with your students and families at home. So hopefully today, by the end, you're going to leave with resources. We can look at the agenda real quick. We're going to start with just doing briefly getting started, how to log in, how to start your collaboration trial for the 90-day access. Then we're going to dive in and focus on what does collaboration look like using Book Creator and how you can use that with your students. Then John's going to show you real-time feedback, kind of with our own spin on it, how that you can do this with your students so that even when they're at home, you're still able to communicate with them and give them that one-on-one feedback. Also with each other, students commenting on each other's work. Then we're going to dive into student motivation. John's going to share his story about how he was able to get his students motivated to write and just literacy in general. Then we're going to look at specific ideas that you can use in your classroom. We're going to share ideas with one another. Then we're going to finish with templates. So you'll be leaving today with a bank of templates that you can share with staff at your school and get started with teachers as well. And then main questions and answers, I'm going to be trying to answer most as I can in the background as this is going on. If you can put that in the question window, there's some that will be answered live. So if I don't get to it right away or John doesn't get to it right away, we have that end session at the end where we will dive into those questions. So hopefully that gives you kind of a draft of where we're headed today.
Great. And again, just some housekeeping business. Catherine and I did this a couple of days ago, and I think we had over 100 people attend. And at the time, we thought it was a good idea just to put all the questions into the chat window so that it was all in one place, and it just got insane. So it was fun, but it got a little bit crazy. So what we're going to do is we're going to separate those tonight. So if you have just like those aha moments where you're like, yeah, that's awesome, and you just have to type something out and tell everybody how awesome you thought that was, put it in the chat window. If you want to, just tell us how cool this was and how awesome we are, put it in the chat window. But if you have those real questions that you need answers to, those go into the Q&A box. All right, so we're going to separate that a little bit. All right, cool. So let's go to the next page.
Okay, so before saying this is a scary time for our students and parents and teachers as well. We all are feeling lost. So the one way that we can do that is just leaning on one another. And it's not going to look perfect for anyone, and it's going to look different for all students, teachers, and schools.
Yep. All right.
So this is going to transition. We're going to look at how we can collaborate with one another because we need to lean on each other during this time. So first thing first, you're going to receive this at the end. We're going to send you this book. We're going to send you a recording of this whole webinar and the template library that you'll have access to. So just know that. Just feel free to follow along. You do not need to log in at this time. But the first thing that you're going to want to do coming from this is you're going to want to go to bookcreator.com and sign in. You'll notice on this page as well, I've done a voiceover and then the transcript just as an example of what you can do using the app anyways. So sign up for your free account if you haven't already done so. Then the second thing you're going to be doing, if John, do you want to show how to log in?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, hold on a second. Let me go to, no, sorry about this. Sorry. I was, yeah, I always forget because I'm logged in already. And it never really shows up the right way. So here you go. So if you go to app.bookcreator.com, this is the site that you will go to. So when you click on that book in the link, this is what will pop up. And there are two tabs here, student tab, teacher tab. Obviously you are teachers. So you're going to click the teacher tab and you're going to sign in. All right. So just make sure students click here. Teachers, click here, but that's how you get started. Very simple, very easy to do.
And you can just click on that link when you get the book too, and you can be able to do that.
Yep. Awesome.
Okay, so next, perfect.
So when you go ahead and start, one of the main features of Book Creator that comes with our paid plans is collaboration, right? So that allows for real-time collaboration amongst students, teachers and students. You can all work in the same book at the same time. Now, normally, like I said, that's part of our paid plan, and we also have a 14-day trial. So if you're on our free version of Book Creator, you can use collaboration normally for 14 days. But because most schools are home at this point and kids are doing this remote learning, we are offering 90-day trial of the collaboration feature. All right, so you still, with the free version, if you're on free, you get 40 books, but then you also get that 90-day trial of collaboration. And then we also have this really cool guidance for remote learning support document. So again, if you're in here, as the speech bubble says, you click on the little virus guy here, and what it'll do is it'll bring up our little support document for home learning. And so this is really nice. It lays things out really nicely for you. So you can join webinars. Again, if you want to come back and see us again, more power to you. We'll give you like frequent flyer mileage or something. But then it walks you step by step how to sign up as a teacher. Here's a video that Catherine put together about how to sign up and invite students into your library. And then some different options here for signing in, QR codes, getting your upgrade for your collaboration, creating a template book optional. Here's some ideas for that, and contacting parents. And then Catherine also made a parent-student setup video. So if you click that, you can watch how to set up as a parent or student. And so again, you're going to sign into Book Creator, enter the code that your teacher gives, and now you can join a teacher's library and start working. All right, so there's a lot of great information here that's laid out nicely for you. So definitely click on that virus and make sure that you check that out at some point so that you can be sure you know what you're doing.
And overall, like I said before, Book Creator can be used for any subject at any grade level, does not matter. And you can use it for anything you're already using in the classroom, which we're going to show, but it's perfect for showcasing work, using as another presentation tool, and just getting the students to be creative. I highly recommend, if you click on that link right there for the resources for teachers, we have a huge resource hub. You can also submit specific books that your students have created. Please do so. It's a great tool for us to share with schools as well, to show, hey, this is what some schools are doing and some teachers have ideas of, so you can kind of steal that template too. Highly recommend diving in there and looking at all of the resources.
And these resources, again, are resources that are created by teachers and students. So a lot of great stuff separated by subject area, grade level. And if you scroll down even further, I'm having a little trouble with my page loading, but if you scroll down even further, there's some really good resources there by our Book Creator ambassadors. So I highly recommend that you take a look at that so that you can get some great ideas. And again, just a quick reminder as we're going to the next page, if you do have questions, please put them into the question and answer box so they don't get lost into the chat window. That way we can see them coming up. And I did have just a quick question, and as I'm turning the page, I'll make sure I'll address it to the whole group just in case you didn't see it. Can you import a Word document into Book Creator? And the short answer is yes. The longer answer is it might not be what you think it is. All right, so can you import a Word document? Yes, you can. But if I had a 4-page Word document, it's not going to import and turn it into a 4-page Book Creator book. All right, it's going to turn it into a really ugly, you can copy and paste and it'll be a really ugly text box, or you can import the document and it comes in like a little pop-up window. All right, so those are that's what it would look like. It works, but it's not exactly what I think some people think it might be. And that is definitely something that we can talk about at that getting started with Book Creator chat. And so it puts it in as an icon. When you click on the icon, it pulls it up in a little pop-up window. All right. And I think that was our stop, collaborate, and listen option. I just signed up. I do want to answer this one real quick, answer live. I just signed up and I don't see a way to get the 90-day trial. So I'm going to go back out of here real quick, Catherine. Back out of our book. So in here, when you're in your library, underneath the book, there's a share button. If you click the share button, right here it'll say start collaboration. If you click on that, that's when it'll ask you to start your trial. All right, ours says stop collaboration because we already have it turned on. But when you click on this, it'll say start collaboration, and that's how you get your trial. All right? All right, cool. And moving on to the next spot. I guess I could have done that a little bit faster.
Cool.
All right, so how can Book Creator help? All right, well, Book Creator can help in a couple of different ways. And the first key way that we're going to talk about is collaboration, right? So we already talked a little bit about how to get your collaboration started. We talked about how to turn it on. And so a couple of things about collaboration. What's really nice about collaboration is that everybody can work together in the same book. So it's Google-like, all right? And we're going to demonstrate this here in a few minutes. So it's Google-like, and I say Google-like because Google, when you share a document with somebody, has the ability to do like a revision history. All right, so right now, we don't have the ability to do revision history, so I just want you to be cautious when you use the collaboration, because anybody that has access to your library as a teacher will then have access to that book if you turn it on. So it's great, it's a great feature, but you just have to be very careful with it and make sure that your students understand that work can be lost if they do something wrong. Now, we are working on a fix for that. And so we will have the ability to share books or, offer collaboration for certain small groups or individual students. So that's coming down the line here very soon. But in terms of collaboration, I have done a couple of really cool collaboration projects with people around the world. And I think this is something that you could easily do inside your classroom. So I'm going to go back here and click on this link. And so when I click on this link, one of the ideas that I did was called The World is My Audience. I call them the TWIMA projects. And the basic idea here is that I was asking one classroom from every country and every state in the world to come together to write a book. And I just wanted to see if it would actually work. All right, and it actually did. And so we ended up doing the TWIMA projects. And so we've done 8 complete TWIMA projects at this point, and now we are in the process of working on number 9. And I figured, hey, while kids are home and they're working on collaboration and they're trying to connect with people and trying to have relationships when they're not actually physically in the classroom, why not join something like the TWIMA project? And so TWIMA 9 is all about traditions. And so I'm curious, as a class, share your family, your country, your city, state, town, the traditions that you have, food, dances, holidays, cultures, routines, things like that. All the directions are here for you to join my library and create a book with your kids and your students so then they can then be part of this TWIMA project. So I highly recommend taking a look at that if you are interested. So what does collaboration look like? All right, what does collaboration look like in Book Creator? So I'm going to go ahead and go back to edit mode here. I'm going to go to a blank page. And so on page 14 here, I'm going to start doing some work just to show you what this looks like. Now, when Catherine joins, all right, when she gets into the page, you will see her name kind of pop up here to the bottom. And then that way I know that somebody else is working on this page. And so if I click the plus button, we've got a lot of great things to choose from here. So we've got different media options from cameras and pens and audio recording, comic features, and shapes. And so I'm just going to start adding a shape here. So I'm going to type inside here, bring a shape onto my page. And I'm going to go ahead and start typing. Catherine, everything's turned on, right?
Yeah, I'm scrolling. Sorry, I was just answering a question.
Oh, all good. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to turn on the collaboration button like I did the other day. So There you go. Now you can see that Catherine has joined, and I can see that she's on the page. When she starts putting something on the page, I'm able to see exactly where she is. All right, so you can see her name now is highlighted in there. And so with the shapes and things like that, I can then just move them around. If I wanted to add something else, maybe a speech bubble or a thought bubble, I can work this together, put it on the page wherever I want. But like you can see, it's very Google-like, but again, it's just not 100% like Google with the revision history. Anything else, Catherine, that we need to say about the collaboration feature?
I think that's good. Yeah.
All right.
They can work on them at the same time. Yep.
Awesome. And going on to the next page. So do we have any pressing questions that are still lingering on there? We'll take a quick little break. Aggie or Aggie or Aggie, sorry about that. How do you delete something out of a book? So the remove button wasn't active. It had a red circle over it. How do you undo? So you can only undo one spot. So you can't undo multiple layers. So if you did, 15 different things, you can't just continue to undo. You can click on one if you just click on something. So let me go back a page here. So if I just click on a box so that it's highlighted, I just hit delete and it's gone. The other thing you can do is click on a box and hit the I button, the inspector button, and say delete. And that would be an easy way to do it. All right, continuing on. Oh, I hit the wrong side there. The next thing that I think is really important in terms of remote learning or home learning, whether you're using Book Creator or you're doing something else, is communication, right? I think communication is vastly important because if you are not communicating effectively as the teacher, or your students are not communicating effectively back to you, or same thing with parents, then things are going to get lost. All right, so I want to make sure that we talk about a little communication a little bit. So in this book, if you click on this link, there is an option inside your library that allows you to turn on or off the ability for students to see other student work. So that button is right here at the top. It's a settings icon. And right here, there are some other things you can turn on or off. But right here, students can read each other's book. Sometimes you might want them to read each other's book so they can get ideas. They can see what's going on, see how other people are doing. And sometimes you may not want to have that. So I would turn that on or off depending on your needs. But that's how you do that. That's what's mentioned on that page there. And then the other thing with communication is communicating directly with your students. So I get this all the time from teachers, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the page here to show you what this looks like. But I get this all the time. Do you have a commenting feature like in Google? And the answer is we do not. But teachers are crafty, right? They come up with really cool ways of being able to kind of hack the system. And so some of my favorites that I've found is if you click the plus button and then add, say, a shape. You can click on a shape, and then I just put it off to the side, and then I start typing in here. Great job. Check your punctuation on the second paragraph, right? Or something like that. So I can leave some feedback in a bubble like this and just leave it off to the side. And then when a kid comes in, they can make the adjustments that they need on the page. And then when they're finished, they just click the box and they delete it. Some teachers may want them to leave the box so that they can see if they made the changes that were requested, but other teachers may want you to delete the box. The other thing that I really, really like for feedback is the audio button. So if you go to the media tab and click on the record button, I can then just click start recording and I can do some audio. This gives you a little countdown, get that last burp out. Hey, Catherine, great job on this page. I really like the Bitmoji. It definitely adds to the excitement that you have to go along with your writing. Keep up the great work. So I just hit stop and use recording. And now I click the mic. There's my little audio button. All right. And so now the audio button, you cannot just slide off to the side. It does have to remain on a page. But at least this way I can just put a little button here. And now when the student gets into the book, they can click on it and listen to their feedback. So that's another way. And then another way that I've seen teachers leave feedback and communicate with students is through video. So again, I click on the camera, choose record video. Again, gives you that countdown. Hey, great job on your writing today. I do have a couple of little spots of punctuation that you need to work on, but other than that, keep up the great work. So make sure you have a question mark at the end of the third sentence of paragraph 1. And also, I think an exclamation point would be perfect at the end of the paragraph 3. All right, so then whatever. I'm not an English teacher, but I hit use, and now I can have this video that will be uploaded. I can resize this. And again, it won't go off the page, but I can at least move it around and resize it and just leave some video feedback for the students. And when they're done, they just hit delete, and now it's off. Okay? So there's a couple of ideas.
I'm just gonna jump in real quick too. One other way that I've been working with some teachers and they said for feedback that they liked was they might add a page in the student's book and put it at the front or the back, and then that could just be their feedback page. You could even put a rubric or something on there, and then they can actually keep that feedback too. So totally up to you. I've seen that. That's what some teachers will do as well.
Great.
Yes, we have some good questions here, John. I'll have you answer them if you want.
Yeah. Okay. So one of the questions that I'm looking here, I just want to make sure I catch up, but I'm going to go, is there a way to share collaboration between the online version and the app, the iPad app? So the short answer is no. The iPad app and the online version are completely separate, right? So the best way to think about it is they are completely separate. However, if you have the online version as a teacher and you want students to collaborate on their iPad, the best way to do that is to have them log in through Safari on the iPad, join your library, and then collaborate. Just avoid the app altogether. So the app does not have the ability to collaborate in real time. So just being able to do that, I think would be awesome, right? But using the Safari is the way to do it. You could use Chrome on the iPad. I think there's also Microsoft Edge on the iPad. My only caution is, the reason I said Safari first is that with Chrome, Apple blocks Chrome in the microphone. So you might lose some of the features that you would get if you had Safari access, okay? So definitely do that. Let's see what else. Okay.
If a student is reading another student's book, can they change it or accidentally delete it?
So the answer is no. So if a student is able to see other work, they cannot delete the other student's work. They can only see it. They can only view it. All right. So that's a great question. And then Chantel says, can audio be translated into Spanish or other languages for English language learners? So a couple things. If you record just the audio recording button, then just speak it in Spanish, right? Or another language, and it will record automatically. We do have a text-to-speech feature that does record. If you speak in Spanish, it will type it in Spanish text, as long as you change the language from a drop-down. But for me, if you wanted to speak Spanish to your English language learners, then I would just use the audio button, speak it in Spanish or whatever that language might be, and be done with it. All right. And Kim says, maybe I didn't do it quite correctly. It had a round circular audio button.
She was wondering about the comic when you were speaking in it, the comic little thing popped up. Was that because that you've started the book with the comic?
Yes. So this is a great question. This happens a lot. So I'm going to come back out of the library here, or the book, and show you guys all this real quick. When you make your first book, all right, and you click the new book button, this is, I don't know why we do this. I have to giggle about it every single time. This top row of books, if you choose one of these top three, you won't have any comic features. Okay. So it's just a plain book. So you'll see media and you'll see shapes, and that's it. If you choose the bottom three books, then you have the comic options. Some kids and some teachers are like, nope, I'm not making a comic book. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're making a comic book, because you might want the comic features, right? You might want the stickers. You might want the panels. You might want the cool little speech or the cool little record button. But if you don't choose one of the bottom three, you're not going to get it. So always, my opinion, always choose bottom three. I always like landscape because I get more real estate to work with.
And then one other question, John, do you mind repeating real quick on and off collaboration?
Yep. So, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll use our book as an example. So when you're in your library as a teacher, you would create a book first. All right. And so we created this home learning book. Underneath, there's a share button. Kind of looks like a little alligator going to the right. You click on the share button. And I'll turn off collaboration real quick just so they can see it. But if you click the share button, it says publish online, and the next one down is collaborate. So if I click collaborate and say start collaboration, now that book is available to anybody who is in that library. They can now go ahead and edit that book. Okay? Great. Great questions. All right, let me scroll through.
There was one more question. If If you were to, this is from Darcy, if I were to make a class book, can I assign students a page and make it so they cannot edit other pages?
No.
Or is that a feature that's still in development?
Still in development. But the best way around this is to have every kid create their own book. All right. And just make it a 1-page book. Say, Johnny, you do book 1, Catherine, you do book 2, whatever. And everybody makes their own book. And then at the end, there's a combine feature, and you can combine all the books into one, and you can rearrange the pages, and then you have this nice, neat book. Mm-hmm. That would be my suggestion, at least for now.
And then you could collaborate that book so that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. All right. And now we're moving on to, I'm sorry?
Oh, I said, let's keep going.
All right. And now we're moving on to the next part. And this is my favorite part of the whole thing. And that is motivation. And I know personally, because I work from home all the time, motivation is tough sometimes, right? Because I look outside, I see the bright sunny day, and I just want to go out to the golf course or go wash my car. And I'm like, I got to put on my blinders and I got to work, right? So motivation is tough. And it's going to be tough for parents, for students, for parents, students, teachers. It's going to be tough for everybody involved because this is something that we haven't had to really do in the past. So we've got some things here that are really cool. If you click on the book here, it will take you to a guide on how to publish your work. If you go over here to the library and click on it, it will talk about how to join a library, publish a library. And so I'm going to share just a quick version of my story. I'm going to spend a couple minutes explaining my story. All right. And so when I started working with Book Creator for the very first time, almost 8 years ago, right, my story had to start just like everybody. And it started with my students. And now these aren't my students. These are some Google kids. I don't know, that I just found on Google. But my kids, they were not happy like these kids, right? They were angry at me all the time. They hated my class. They didn't want to do anything. And it was a really bad situation. And I just couldn't figure out what their problem was, right? Other than the fact that they just didn't care, right? But they didn't really care about writing, and I was concerned about that. And so I asked them why they hated writing, and they just said things like, well, we just hate writing, right? And they couldn't really verbalize anything. And I didn't understand it, but I thought about it, and I realized I didn't even like writing, right? As an adult, I didn't even like to write. And so I started thinking about things that I could do to fix it, right? So I tried cool writing prompts. The kids hated them. I tried gross writing prompts, like, hey, kids, you're going to pretend like you're a dog. What does your day look like? And the kids are like, what? I was like, you wake up, you lick your butt. What happens next? And the kids are like, what? Throwing up all over my class, right? They're like, that's gross. I tried food, right? Pizza day. And they didn't want to write about any of that. And so I just felt like this guy right here, right? I felt completely knocked out and abused, and I didn't know what to do. And so I went to the teacher store, and I found like the teacher, 730 journal prompts, 2 for every day of the year. And guess what? The kids hated all of them, right? And I know that because I tried all of them, right? I went into the kids. I was excited like this guy up here. The kids, they're like eye rolling here, like the guy in the top right. They're just annoyed with me. I had my kids are like, sounds like somebody's getting murdered upstairs. Jeez. And over here, this guy, we got like angry Roger Federer, right? It was crazy, right? Like the kids just hated everything. And I was just like, why me? Right. Well, I realized that there were 3 reasons why I think kids hated school. And it was 1, because they did all this work and they turned it into just you, right? The teacher, the audience of 1. A lot of these kids have 10,000 YouTube followers before we eat breakfast, right? And then, if we're lucky, they might take it home, put it on the fridge, and they got like an audience of 3 or 4, but that's it. And then the second reason was that these kids, they still, even today, we're not asking them to work together on anything, right? It's just keep your own eyes on your own paper. Don't talk to your neighbors, right? And then the third and most important reason for me was that a lot of times these kids, they're not leaving behind anything. There's no legacy that they're leaving behind. There's no work that's left behind that will benefit anybody else. If we're lucky, they left some gum under the desk, right? But that's about it. And so I'm going to stop talking about this. So I'm not going to go through this whole book. If you want to read through the whole book, you can click on that link and check it out later. But the basic idea was that when I told my students that we were going to write and publish a book for the entire world to see, it changed everything for those kids. They wanted to write. They wanted to make it good. They wanted to put their effort into it. And it was fantastic. And at this point, the kids that I work with and the teachers that I've worked with, we've published over 155 books at this point. We've had 50,000 some odd downloads, and it's been an amazing experience. And so I really, really want you to think about publishing with your students. Now, I know some teachers get a little scared when you hear the word publishing, because it just sounds, it sounds scary, right? Like, I don't want my kid to have their work out there for the whole world to see. Well, be cautious of like media release forms with schools. Take student names out, take photos out if you can't have those in there, but the student can still put their work out there online so that other people can read it. It's not going to be Googleable. It's not Googled, whatever. You can't find it if I just search something on Twitter or Google. You're not going to be able to find the book. It's only available if you have the link. So there is a level of security there, but just think about it, because being able to publish your work out there is going to be huge for those kids, and they're really, really going to like it. Next page.
Let me unmute myself. Sorry. So a few ideas that we had, especially during this time for remote learning. Graphic novels, so comics, something that they might have already learned in class and you want them to review. You can just throw on, hey, turn this into a comic, or turn this into a graphic novel. Lots of graphic novels, students will do their own artwork, then they'll import that right on the page. I've seen some amazing, amazing things done from kinder all the way through high school. Another option that we were thinking about would be daily check-ins. So making sure that we're focusing on social emotional learning while we are remote as well. We're going to give you some templates in a minute that you can look at how that we might in our classrooms have put that out for that daily check-in. They can use emojis, just a way that every single day they're able to share how they're feeling, and they're part of history right now. So we should be having them document it somehow. Another thing is just plain review. Put something into a simple project and make them be creative with it. See where the students take it, because we want to give them options during this time. Also, you can create your templates for absolutely anything, which we're going to show you in a few minutes. And then John came up with an awesome idea too for author hour. So this could be a time when maybe they've already previously written a story, and now you're going to combine it into a collaborative book. And the students, when they're doing the remote learning, you could all be on Zoom and then sharing their book or their page or their short story that they've written, and having them showcase that for the other students to learn from.
Yeah, awesome. Oh, and so now we're going to show you some templates here. Real quick. Is that right, Catherine? Is that what we're doing right now? Templates?
Yeah, if you can show them the templates.
So we created this template library, and you'll get all of this information later. So don't worry about it. You'll get all this information later. But what I think is most important about this is it doesn't have to be super fancy or amazing, right? It's like mine. This is not amazing. All right, I made this. It's a 4-panel comic that I have 4 different buttons here that I want kids to fill in. So they click inside the panel, they add a photo, and they say, my name is so-and-so. I teach, or I'm a kid and I like whatever, right? You can adjust these any way that you want. We have another one that I created. So my remote learning experience. And again, this is nothing fantastic. I just created I think Catherine did this, created a table of contents for my book. And she just said day 1 and linked it, right? So when I click on the link, it takes me to that page day 1. So, describe your learning situation. When do you learn best? Add a picture and explain. What could you personally do to make remote learning work, right? So I just created something very simple that kids could use to answer some questions. And then Catherine created this one, which is really cool, very nicely designed one where you're documenting history about this pandemic. So who does it belong to? What's the date? Add some Bitmojis and personalize it. But where's my location? Some emojis that describe how I'm feeling. And what I thought was really cool about the next page here is how am I feeling today, right? Like, what's the day today and how am I feeling? Right now, I'm stressed out, right? Like, I'm tired of hearing about the same thing over and over again. Like, I just want this thing to go away, right? In the news, 3 things I can control, 3 things I cannot control, right? Like, I can control the news. I can stop watching it, right? That would be one way. Things I can't control, the virus, right? Like, so there's really cool things that the kids can fill in with this. And what's going to be cool is in the book, in the presentation, the book that we're going to share with you at the end of the evening or early tomorrow morning, you will have the ability to get into this library and you'll be able to see these books. And what you can do then is you can click the books down here, this 3-book icon. You click that and say copy book, and it's going to copy that book. And then you're going to choose which library of yours you want it to go into, and then you will be able to edit it. And that's the same way that your students are going to do that. They're going to join your library, they're going to copy your template, and then they're going to be able to edit the template and not mess with your original. All right, so that's going to be a really cool thing, and I can't wait to see some of the templates that you guys create. And if you want, leave some in here for us, right? Leave one in the template library so that we can share it with others. I think that's going to be a really cool thing to do, and I think your teachers and kids are going to like it a lot.
I had a really good question real quick. Can students record their responses in each box? It takes hours for second graders to type a paragraph. Yes. If you went to the record feature, they can actually record themselves as a video too. And if you do the Getting Started webinar, we'll go into transcripts. They can edit transcripts, but definitely I would have them do their recording. You can even embed different videos that they might have created from other platforms too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good question.
I taught special ed, and again, once I got the kids excited about writing, they were like, hey, Mr. Smith, this is really cool. I can't wait to write. Guess what? And I'm like, what? And they're like, I can't spell. I can't type. I don't know how to do this, right? And I'm like, but guess what? You can talk, right? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, so we're going to click the speech to text, and you're going to write with your face. And the kids were like, yeah. So definitely great ideas. All right. Well, at this point then, what are some of the ideas that you guys have that you might be able to use Book Creator in your classrooms? So Amy says, these are fantastic. Thank you, Amy. You're welcome. So what are some other thoughts that you might have? I'm going to kind of look through the chat window here, and we're going to kind of type some of these into the page. And after you tell us your cool answers, then we're going to show you some of the answers from last night, right? Or from the other one that we did. So Haley says social stories. Absolutely. Social stories would be great. Amy says pretty virtual wax museum. Yep, absolutely. That would be very cool. So I know that wax museums are very popular. I know a lot of schools like to do them. It's going to be really tough, right? When you're not allowed to like touch or be close to anybody, right? You can't really go up and push that button and have the wax person talk. So yeah, having the ability to do a virtual wax museum would be awesome. Virtual field trips. So Christina, good friend from Charlotte here. So yeah, absolutely. Virtual field trips. So you can put all kinds of cool things in there. Guess what? Google Maps Google Earth can be embedded into Book Creator books. So you can do all kinds of cool virtual things with that. So one of our favorite features here at Book Creator is the embed feature. And so if you attend my Getting Started with Book Creator webinar, we'll talk about the embed feature. Basically anything that has an embed code can be put into Book Creator. Darcy says they're doing U.S. states research right now. Or before the quarantine, they were doing it. So it'd be really cool to combine their research into a nonfiction text. Absolutely. Or even a graphic novel about the U.S. states, right? Google Lit Trip style, Susan says. Absolutely. Anna, making vocabulary books with my English newcomers. Yeah, awesome. Visual vocabulary books, right? Add lots of great pictures. Susan, again, PBL solutions. Absolutely. Younger students creating a page to build a collaborative book is fantastic. Yeah, Amy, so maybe that TWIMA project might be something that your students would like to jump in on, and that way it involves the family too. School holidays has been moved forward, so our team is focusing on individual learning. So I'd like to do a collaborative book with a team member and explore and teach Book Creator. Absolutely. Magazines with articles, fantastic. You guys are on fire tonight. School tradition,
I'm loving
like our month-long Chinese New Year celebration. Susan, sounds like that TWIMA project is right up your alley because it's all about traditions. Science observation journals, absolutely. Math for sure. Teachers can front load. Christina says front load vocabulary for the EL students to build background knowledge. Absolutely. One of these days, Christina is going to share that library that her teachers are making because they've got some really fantastic stuff going on in Charlotte. So I'm looking forward to that. Chantel, a TED Talk or podcast. Yeah, absolutely. That would make total sense. Recipe book for Mother's Day. I love it, Darcy. That's a great idea. I think a recipe book would be fantastic. So I think we got all of those that you guys mentioned right there. So those are some really great ideas. Keep them coming. That is awesome. All right, so we'll let Catherine go ahead and
I'll keep going. You can
catch
do
up
your
there.
thing.
She'll keep going if there are more ideas. Oh, I saw the blink. I got to see one more. Yep. Love the recipe book ideas. So that would be fantastic. Awesome. So while Catherine is putting those in, just a couple of quick, the ones that we did yesterday, a how-to book, research projects, a Hall of Fame library for exemplary work that kids have done. I think it would be great. Things that we can do to keep sane, right? I think that's a fantastic thing. I probably shouldn't say this, but we have a book that's coming out very soon that I think your kids are going to absolutely love. If somebody asks you and you say that I told you this, I will deny it. But we have a activity book coming out. So if you remember when you were a kid and you went on a road trip and you stopped at the gas station, you got one of those little activity books that had like a maze and it had like word searches and stuff and all these different things. We've got one of those coming out. You're gonna be able to copy it into your library and you're gonna be able to send it out to your kids and they're gonna go crazy. My son saw it for the first time. I thought he was gonna pass out. So he was really, really excited about it. So I'm looking forward to that too. All right. So again, wow. I put this in ahead of time. I figured you guys would have great ideas. You did not disappoint. All right. Lots of fantastic things happening here. I'm very excited about the ideas that you had come up with. So stop. It's hammer time. What kind of, are there any other questions in there, Catherine, that we need to address?
Let me check one more time.
See,
No, I don't think so.
All right, lots of
I don't
love over
see.
there.
Wait, there's one. Let me
Oh.
see. Okay. Do you have a kid-friendly training video in your resources that we can share with students who haven't used Book Creator yet? We could post it on our Google sites. Okay. In that guide to learning, I created a video for students and parents that will show them how to log in, how to use the code that their teacher gave them, and then if you were to give them a template, how to make a copy and put it in that library for them. We do not have, now John, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have a kid-friendly training video for all of the features, but it has been on our radar. This has been asked over and over again. So it is going to be in the making very soon. And maybe we can do it from different grade levels. So we're going to put that together. So just stay tuned for that as well.
I will say though, from a personal level, now depending on the age of kids, but even young kids, my son was 4 when he published his first book. A lot of times when I teach students, I will go in and just once we get past the whole logging in thing, right? That always takes the longest. But once we get past that and we go into a blank page, I just say, look, there's 2 important buttons, plus button, inspector button. That's it. Plus button, add stuff. Inspector button allows you to manipulate it. And then I let kids play with it for 10 minutes. You'd be surprised what kids can figure out in 10 minutes without much help. All right. Any other questions before we move on, Catherine?
They were asking when this will be sent, the recording. I'm going to shoot you an email later on this evening. So it'll be in your inbox by tomorrow morning, and then you can share it with whoever.
Yep. Just depends on how fast my Wi-Fi is tonight in uploading the video.
Sorry, 2 more questions, John.
Oh, yep.
Our school pays for Book Creator. Do we still need to get the 90-day trial? Nope. If you already have it and you have a district license, awesome. You have unlimited books or limited libraries, 1,000 books. If your school also needs more, please reach out to us so we can help you with that. And then what's the easiest way to involve tutor kids and parents remotely? Kids might hesitate if they don't know how to use Book Creator. One thing I would think about is just simple steps. Make it as simple as can be. Even record yourself on your screen. I know I use Loom. Just record yourself. It might be nice for them even to see your face doing it. We have a lot of videos that we can send to, and you can look at our website. But I would just simple steps.
Yeah. And for me personally, one of the things that I would do, I never introduce a new tool by doing something, quote, important, right? Like I'm not going to say, hey, here's a tool called Book Creator. You're going to make a wax museum, right? Like I would never do that, right? I would say, here's a tool called Book Creator. I want you just to goof around for 15 minutes, right? Or put a picture of yourself in and add a speech bubble. Like that's it. Just, it's very simple. Just get them in there playing around with it and then get into the heavy duty stuff later. All right. Well, we're going to have you continue sharing your ideas. Right here, you can join our template library. There is the code to join the template library, the 5FJKKFN. And again, we will pass this all out to you later this evening or earlier tomorrow morning. Grab some of those templates, put them in your library, have some fun with it, build some templates of your own. And if you're like super proud of it, dump those into our library as well. All right. And so we will make sure that you, yes, Amy, we will email this to you. So just make sure that you join the library, have some fun with it. And any last questions? We'll stick around here for a few minutes to answer some questions if you have any more as we go along. But for the most part, I just want to say thank you. And I know that Catherine wants to thank you as well. We really appreciate you being here. There is a link at the bottom of that last page for you to register for any future webinars that we have. Right now we do 2, getting started with Book Creator and then this home learning one. So hopefully that was, these were informative for you. Hopefully you're able to get some information. If you're good and you don't have any more questions, you're free to go. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so go eat dinner or whatever. If you've already eaten dinner, then go watch a show or take a walk or something that doesn't involve being around other people. But just have a good evening. But if you do have questions, keep them coming here. We'll stick around for about 5 more minutes or so, and we'll answer some of your questions. I see someone coming through here, so we'll go ahead and do that. I'll stop screen sharing, and that way you can just look at us, I guess. All right. What other questions do we have?
We have one from Darcy, and it's a Zoom question. Totally fine, Darcy. She was saying she really loves the Zoom toolbar. How did you organize it?
The Zoom toolbar. Darcy, can you clarify the Zoom toolbar that you're talking about? Obviously, I'm not a Zoom expert. But
yeah, I know we aren't either.
I still don't even know what the raise hand feature means. So I just tell people don't even raise your hand. So maybe if you can clarify, Darcy, what that meant. Christina, the code to that library will be in the book. And it's also in the chat window. It was somewhere.
I just posted it again.
All right. Catherine just posted it again. Awesome. Lydia, great. Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here. Really appreciate it. Where do you find the guide to learning video? Again, that is also in the book, Anna. So in the book on, it's like page 5 or 6 or something like that. There's a section that says guide to learning, and you click on the little virus bug and it will be there and you'll be able to see it. And again, we're gonna email all of this to you later this evening. So as soon as we are done chatting, we'll make sure that we get that out to you either later this evening or early tomorrow morning.
Cool, Darcy. Oh. Sorry, yeah, we're not.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
We're just
Darcy.
happy. Zoom's my favorite to use.
Yeah, I like Zoom. And in terms of the toolbar, again, I'm not 100% sure what you mean, but most of the stuff, like I see participants, Q&A, polling, sharing, chatting, and all that stuff, it all just came that way. I didn't really mess with settings because there was too many. I didn't want to read anymore, so I wasn't sure what to do. Robin, thank you from New Zealand. Awesome. Oh, it looks different on your side. Gotcha, Darcy. Yeah, I don't know what it looks like on your side. Yeah. All right, great.
You're welcome, guys. We're so thankful that you're on here.
Yes, thank you. All right. Some of you are still hanging around like for the end credits. Right? There's no special end credit scene, I promise. Unless my 2-year-old comes running down steps or something and wants to wave, but that's about it. So, yeah. I think we should start doing that though now. I think we should have end credits for like everybody that sticks around to the very end.
Laura says, say something profound.
Okay, so here's something profound.
Sure.
All right, you ready? I got something loaded and ready to go. When children create for the world, they make it good. When they create only for their teacher, they make it good enough. And in today's day and age, good enough ain't good enough. Is that profound enough?
Mic drop.
Here.